Hey girl, hey, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Misha. Thank you guys for joining me yet again for another review. We are back with a brand new review of The Real Housewives of Potomac Season 3 Reunion Part 3. Okay, child, I'm tired. Okay, I do not understand. Andy, why do you keep dragging out these reunions to 4 parts? Okay. Real Housewives of Atlanta set the tone, season 9, 4 parts. The lies, the lies. Shout out to Candy Birds, but honey, nothing happened in Potomac where we got to go with 4-part reunions. Okay, I could have had a VA. Child, if you are new here, then welcome. I give lighthearted reviews with a little bit of laughter and a little bit of shade and a whole lot of detail. If you are back for a second or third time, then welcome back. Child, y'all, please don't hesitate to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel if you get anything out of the content. Let me give a disclaimer before I get into it. We are all adults. We have a right to our own opinions. Let's please be respectful of each other's opinions. Down in the comment section below, please be respectful of me. I am taking out the time to do this review for all of you. These are my opinions. If you do not agree with my opinions, there is no need to announce your exit upon subscribing to my channel. There is no need for you to be disrespectful to me. I give a lighthearted review with a little bit of shade and a little bit of laughter. Now, child, let's get into it. So when the episode first opens up, Giselle was like, I had a tummy tuck because I had twins. I did not have it for a man, sweetie. Well, girl, honey, this is the same reason she had one. She had it because she had 3 kids. But you were insinuating that she had it because of a rumor, and that is not going to change. Child, why can't that be her reasoning for it? But, that's just crazy. Wendy said, then why do you think that I would have it for a man? So then they flash back to Gizzard talking about the new boobs having something to do with the rumors, basically saying that Wendy did it to keep Idris's attention. Okay? Baby, Idris was looking at elsewhere, and so Wendy had to make sure she was looking how she was looking. Okay? Moving forward. She said, I did it because I had 3 kids. So Mia chimes in. And she's like, well, did you have your butt done because you had 3 kids? Mia, pipe down. Okay? Pipe down. She said, yes, that was why. I was flat. I had nothing. The fact that she can recognize that she had not now piece of an okay, she had not nothing. I really appreciated her just keeping it real. Girl, honey. She was giving very much SpongeBob SquarePants realness. So please let her do what she gonna do to zhuzh her butt up. Girl, goodbye. So then Andy reads a question that asks why Wendy was going so hard on Giselle and Robin when it was Ashley that started the foolishness. Because Ashley got it from Giselle. That's why. Honey, she knew exactly who the source was. Child, Ashley ain't even been around. Just got through pushing. Cut the umbilical cord and then came and started some foolishness. So she knew exactly who it came from. Child. So Wendy said, I go straight to the snake and take the head off. So she said, as far as Robin texted me in January about the rumor. So why wouldn't you stick up for me as your friend? So Robin said, look, I had no idea what Ashley said to you. I was wondering what you were so upset about when you came in and said rumor. I thought it was something new. Okay. How did you think it was something new when you and Giselle had just talked about it upstairs? I'm not understanding. I guess you could be in the dark because who's to say what rumor when things come out about y'all all the time, so I can understand that. But I think all of this could have been avoided if y'all would have just talked, okay? And I know Wendy was heated in the moment, honey, because y'all were talking about Idris, and she saw red, and so she just went for the jugular. But Wendy, had you listened to her question, she was simply stating, what did Ashley ask you outside? Like, why are you so heated? That's all she wanted to know. That's it. But Robin, let this be a lesson to you that sometimes you are guilty by association, okay? She automatically assumed you on that bullshit, okay? Because you are associated with Giselle. And Giselle is associated with mess all day, every day. Child. And that at your sketch house. Moving forward. And she knows that you're forever up Gizzard's skirt. I guess in this case, Robin was exonerated because of the huge lapse in time. Because, if you're speaking rumors in January and then you get together in March, you're thinking, okay, Ashley said something to her, so maybe something new came out. Maybe that's what Robin was thinking, honey. I'm going to let you get by this time, Rob. Okay? So Wendy pulls out this billboard receipt. I'm like, oh, gosh. Okay, Wendy, I'm with you. I'm with you when you're right. Okay, but this billboard text receipt that you pulled out, okay, child, let's just get into it, honey, because I ain't got time, child. I'm just trying to make it to part 4. So she pulls it out, and it's a text that Robin sent her on January 3rd telling her about the rumor. She's like, did you really spend money on that? Child, yes, she really did, honey. Wendy wants her moment. But Wendy, let me just say this to you. This is not first seat behavior. Girl, sit up and pay him dust. Moving forward. So Andy, who I'm going to gather in just a few minutes, he takes the board and he reads it all out loud. And so Robin is like, time out. Wendy, you're not listening to me. I'm telling you, I thought it was a different rumor. Well, the only reason why I'm going to give Rob and her sleepy self the benefit of the doubt is because she had no idea that Gizon and Ashley's messy selves were planning to talk to Wendy. So she was unaware of what Ashley said. Now, had Giselle talked to Wendy, I think Robin would have known it was the same rumor. So bottom line, Professor, if it don't apply, then let it fly. Moving forward. So Andy gonna look at Wendy and say, I don't think this is the evidence. Shut up, Andrew. It's the evidence that she wanted to bring. Now, it's not given what's supposed to be gave, but your bias is showing at this moment. Okay? Please hush. So Andy is like, this is a game of telephone. Maybe she didn't know. Regardless if her receipts were expired and whatnot, honey, and didn't prove not nothing. I hate how Andy behaves in relation to Giselle, Robin, and Wendy. Now, he let Giselle lie about Pastor Holy Whore, but then shades Wendy and then shaded her more than once. And honey, I'm not changing that. I noticed that Andy had a little bit of a chip on his shoulder when it came to certain cast members. And child, we're going to get into that. So Robin is stating that she didn't lie. She's like, I don't lie. So here go Karen over on the sidelines. I mean, she doesn't. Wait a minute. Let me take that back. You know what? Okay, I'm going to take it back. Karen, just be quiet, girl. Be quiet, honey. So then Andy reads a comment about them asking why she didn't just pull Wendy to the side, talking to Giselle. She's like, well, I had planned on it, but when the dinner in Williamsburg went left and she was so defensive, I just felt like, look, I'm not the one to really say anything. Who wouldn't be defensive if you were saying in no uncertain terms that they were a bird brain bimbo because they got new boobs? I'm trying to figure out who would not be offended by that. And Robin, you may not lie. Allegedly, okay? But Giselle definitely does. Girl, you meant to be messy. That's exactly what you did. You toted that message to Ashley, not once, but thrice, okay? And 2 times before the trip. Now, I don't know if y'all remember this, but remember the previews showed Giselle bringing up the rumors to Ashley in a restaurant. But when the season aired, we never saw that. So then we saw her bring it up again when she invited Ashley to the trip she wasn't hosting, okay? Child, she stayed putting Ashley in spaces with Candace to get some started. Giselle is the common denominator. Okay? This is what the problem is. It would have never gotten started had Giselle just been quiet. Because I am almost certain that if Robin texted Wendy about this rumor, I know she texted Giselle. And Giselle keeps talking about how she doesn't pay attention to the Twitter and the YouTube streets. Yes, you do, girl. Yes, you do. Honey, you know every last thing that they're saying. Girl, goodbye. So Wendy said, I was defensive because you said I had no substance. Andy said, well, would it have been better if she would have pulled you to the side? I mean, it still would have been on camera. I mean, you would have still been pissed. Wendy said, yes. She said, well, if it's false, then why are you mad? She said, it's because it's my husband's reputation. That's my sweetie. Baby, y'all better leave her man alone. Don't mess with my man. I'ma be the one to bring it to ya. Shout out to Nivea. Baby, she is not playing with y'all. Do you hear me? So then a viewer asked how she could be mad that Karen brought up things about Jamal and it affected her kids, but doesn't think Wendy's kids matter when she's trying to expose a false rumor. This was directed at Giselle. So Giselle is like, as far as her children are concerned, I think they would want people to say, hey, they're not believing this. Gizzard, cut the crap. Okay, you brought it up to get the mess started. Apologize to this lady's family for bringing it up on camera because it upset her. Okay, Andy, I know you weren't buying it either because I was watching you and I saw the way that you were looking, but you and Bravo love Giselle, so there's that. So then they asked why Wendy should be exempt from people talking about the Eddie rumors, and Ashley was like, well, I don't feel like anyone should be exempt. Well, honey, Ashley, we know you gonna pipe up child as much stuff come out as by Michael, okay? She was like, if it's something that I feel like we should bring up in conversation, then we should just talk about it. Yeah, because y'all ain't got nothing else going on, honey, so y'all use Wendy for a storyline the entire time. But anyway, get into it if you're gonna get into it. She's like, my piece around this is this. I felt like it was calculated, honey, and I do not believe anything differently. She said this is the same blog that said Giselle paid Jamal $100,000 to be her significant other last year. Why wouldn't she say on camera, well, you know what, they talk about me too? Well, that is a good point. I mean, I'm just saying, honey, that's a great point. She was like, that right there to me showed that it was calculated. So Giselle was like, no, it shows I was talking about social media. Just give it up, Wendy. Okay, just give it up, child. She is never going to admit that she heard the rumor, thought that there was some truth to it, and your new body was mentioned in correlation to it. And that's that on that. But she is not about to admit that. So just let it go, girl. Just let it go. Because it's got the people looking at you crazy. Everybody wondering why you're so up in arms. Nobody understands what you're saying and how you're saying it, honey, because it's not coming across where we can receive it. Girl, just leave it alone. Moving forward. So then they started talking about Giselle, saying she spoke to her on the phone. So Wendy said, you spoke to me, right? She said, yeah, you called me. She said, no, I didn't call you. That's not true. You never talked to me. I pulled my phone records because I'm married to an attorney. See, this is what I'm talking about right here, Wendy. This is what I'm talking about right here. This is given, I have 4 degrees. Wendy, girl, okay. Wendy, girl. Now, I want you to know this. People that have cricket can get a phone record. Shout out to all my people who have cricket, honey. Nothing against cricket, okay? I've been there. Shout out to cricket. Even people with a prepaid cell phone from the local Family Dollar can get a phone record if need be. You don't have to be married to an attorney to get one. See, that's where the demise of the read comes in. It's too much grandstanding. Just say, look, I pulled my phone records to debunk these green-eyed lies. I spoke to you for 1 minute, and that was 1 minute too long. Done. That's all you got to give her. When you fall back with a definitive statement, it ain't no way that they can come back. But because you are TikTok, I am Zen Wen, like you're doing all that and talking so strong, like it's not given. Okay, it's just not given. But I'm still on your side, girl. So Wendy said, we talked for 1 minute. Giselle said, yes, but then you called me back. Wendy said, I knew you would say that. And I pulled the record again. No calls. Child, Wendy done pulled out this manila folder. Oh my gosh. Child, Monique done started the movement, child. Andy said, so we went from the binder to this loose leaf folder. It's a fall. Andy, when I tell y'all I hollered because of the fact that he called it loose leaf instead of a manila folder. Child, I'm done. But I would have to gather Andrew and his suit right on up, okay? Because the way you treated Monique last reunion, I'm surprised that you even referenced her little binder. Andy knows dang on well reunions are the time to bring the receipts, but usually they're on the phone, child. King and them just be passing the phone over. Portia be like, here, pass this phone down. Baby, Atlanta is not the place to be doing all that extra printing, okay? They ain't got no time for that, child. They trying to make sure their makeup, their hair, and their dress be on fleek. Do y'all hear me? Moving forward. Poor little Tink Tink. She tried, though. Wendy, you tried, and you failed. And Andy, you tried it, okay? Because I'm still watching you. Wendy, it didn't give the zhuzh you thought it would give, but I mean, you gave it the old college try. And since you have 4 degrees, I'm going to go ahead and give you a pass. So Andy is like, is there anyone else that wants to apologize? So Ashley did give an apology for making Wendy feel bad. It seemed genuine. So child, let's move forward. Moving forward. And y'all know what I realized? All of this happened in the span of 10 minutes. I said, okay, this is a fool. In the next segment, it's Robin and her raccoon eyes. It's their turn. They talked about her sleeping her life away, and then we see some flashbacks. A viewer asked why she was apprehensive about calling it depression, and Robin said she's always been a go-with-the-flow type person, and she admits that there was some depression in there. And that's really brave of her to admit that. I really appreciate that, Rob, because that's going to help somebody. Somebody's going to watch this and they're going to say it's nothing wrong with admitting the fact that I have depression. So I thought that was a really stand-up thing to do. And also, I suffer from bouts of seasonal depression. Like, it's a tough thing. And it's actually a tough thing to even say out loud. I used to always wonder, like, why am I always so down in the wintertime? And it's really more common than you think it is. And I had to find different ways to keep my spirits up because it seemed like every December I was like, ugh, okay? So if my reviews start to get a little wonky, honey, y'all don't charge it to my heart, okay? She said, but if I feel like it's getting bad, then I'll get some help. Now, Robin, I do think you need to be proactive instead of reactive because, you have kids. So if you know that these things are going to happen, start finding some type of outlet now, finding someone that you can talk to so that you can make it through because, honey, you cannot sleep all day and night. I know it's easier said than done, but in the next few breaths, you're talking about having another baby? Child, this ain't making no sense. Moving forward. Andy said, I was pained seeing you say you were blowing off Macy's and TJ Maxx. Honey, Andy just trying to make sure you got a safety net before he fire you. Charlie, I don't put it past them, child. Because you know how they try to make you work the entire day? You work your entire shift. And then they call you in the office at the end of the day. Have a seat. You're like, what? Have a seat? Child, it's time to clock out. Honey, whole time you about to get fired. And then you ain't fooling me. She said her items' price points aren't as high as they should be. They aren't high enough to be in retail stores, but she's killing e-commerce. E-commerce can be great if you can really capitalize on your influence or you already have a following. But if you don't, trust me, it is hard work. I have tried to start 3 different stores, all to an epic fail. But honey, I'm going to try one more time this year and I'm going to need y'all to support me, okay? Support your girl. Moving forward. That's just a side note. So she said she paid her taxes off with the money. She put a down payment on the house with this embellished money. Okay, Robin, honey, keep doing your thing because you know what? I may make fun of Rob, honey, and the way she act and whatnot. But I do support Black women in business. I love it. I love to see it. Or any women in business for that matter, honey. Women doing it for themselves. So then Andy asked who thought that her and Juan were getting married next year. Not I, said the cat. Like, not me, honey. Child, Juan cannot be trusted. And that's that on that. But of course, Giselle raised her hand because she got to support Robin in some way. So Robin said, look, we're going to get married eventually. I'm just happy that we recommitted to our relationship. Her and Ashley will have an excuse for these sorry men if they don't do nothing else. So Andy asked why Michael is always saying Robin and Juan aren't getting married. Now, Andy, you know exactly why Michael is saying that Juan and Robin are never getting married. You know why. So, of course, Ashley has a pageant answer for everything. Giselle said, Michael want to marry Juan. He want to take Juan away. Honey, Ann does. Calgon, take me away. Child is a fool. So Andy asked about Juan getting mad about being called out about not being present for her and the kids. She said, he gets upset, but oh well, because I'm still going to talk about it. These are things that I need to talk about. So then he asked about them having another child, and Candace is like, is he shooting the club up? Here go Ashley. Ooh, I hate that term. Ashley, please. You and your coronas are not the poster children for class, okay? Get into it. Moving forward. So Robin said, yes, he is. Giselle said, you pregnant? She said, no. I told him that I'm open to it until 43, and she's 42 now. And I love the fact that Robin let it be known, honey, over 35 or not, I will still have me a baby, and I won't be worried about it. Now, I really appreciated that part because I was like, girl, you giving me a little hope now, okay? Because I'm 39, pushing on into 40, and I do want to have another baby. I mean, I ain't got a man. That's just a side note. But she did give me hope in saying, I can be closer to 40 plus and still want to have a baby. I love it. Okay, Robin. But Robin, I'm telling you right now, honey, don't do it. This will be Bravo's excuse to let you go. Child, you can barely stay awake now. And that pregnancy sleep is out of this world, baby. That is no joke. Child, you'll never be awake to film. It ain't gonna work. But then again, it may be a secured storyline. I just don't like the idea, honey. Juan is a handsome jerk. That sums him up in one sentence. He is a handsome jerk. Moving forward, they take a 10-minute break and Andy goes to visit Onika. Hey, Nikki Minaj. So he tells her that they've been shooting for 4 hours. So, they're all worn out, but feel free to do your own thing. Ask them the questions that you want to ask. Nikki said, well, I'm definitely going to ask Ashley about starting that mess and then grabbing that breast milk and bouncing. I'm definitely going to ask her about that. So here go Andy. Well, I'm very excited because you actually can take sides and voice your opinion. Andy, you definitely take sides. Child, he really thinks the viewing public are idiots. He really think we crazy. Andy, we know that you take sides as well. Okay? We know this. She's like, oh, okay, so y'all hear that? He gave me permission to take sides. Oh, child, let's see what Nikki Minaj gonna do. In the next scene, the husbands come out. Ray talking about him and Karen are in the honeymoon phase. Ray bye. So then he greeted Eddie and asked if he gets mistaken for Idris Elba a lot. He said all the time. I know that's right, Eddie. Listen, I called you Idris every review I could, honey. So I can see it. I can see it, Idris. Child, this is a fool. So then he greeted G and Chris and his Candace paraphernalia. I'm like, oh, okay, for the supportive husband. We love to see it. So then Andy said, Michael and Juan couldn't be here. Michael couldn't be here because he has a condition called the reunion. Child, the way I laughed at that. I said, you know what, if that ain't the truth. So cue Ashley and the rehearsed response. She's like, Michael, he gets sick this time every year. It's crazy. He may even have pneumonia, but he doesn't want to go to the doctor. Girl. I don't know. I don't think Ashley realizes how silly she sounds. Ashley, you be sounding straight crazy, girl. The things that you're saying make absolutely no sense. Girl, pneumonia is serious. So if he does have pneumonia, he better go to the doctor. And I hope he's not around those babies, child, because they cannot fend for themselves as far as their little reproductive and immunity systems. Honey, please get him out of them babies' faces. So then Mama Dot phones in to say hi. And I'm like, child, why do we need this? Like, what is going on? What is going on? Basically, they want her to apologize to Chris. And she said she would, but she doesn't really feel like she should. Something is really wrong with Mama Dot. Gosh, this is a mess. Child, that lady does not care for Chris. Bottom line, point blank, and the period. Mama Joyce ain't got nothing on Mama Dot. Do y'all hear me? Honey, Chris puts up with a lot to be with Candace. A lot. Moving forward. This segment, we start off with the GVO of it all. And so Andy asks how G's Housewives experience was for him. He said he enjoyed himself. He just went in and went there to support his beautiful wife. So he cool. So then they talked to Ashley about her being upset with G. But Michael has acted 1,000,000 times worse, and she gives him a pass. She's like, let's rewind. Okay. My husband has never been overtly sexual with anyone in this group. It must be mommy brain. It must be. It has to be mommy brain. Because Michael acts like a sexual deviant when he gets drunk. Okay. Touching people inappropriately, crossing boundaries. Okay, Ashley. Andy said, well, he did say he wanted to suck Juan's peen, so that's something sexual. Honey, and is. So Ashley said, well, did Juan have a problem with it? I don't think so. Now he had no problem with it, child. Here go Robin. He did have a problem with it whole time she grinning. Okay, Robin. So she's like, it was a joke. Okay. No, it was an admission. There's a difference. Okay. It was not a joke. So she's like, he doesn't even remember saying that. That's a whole nother can of worms. He doesn't even remember that. I'm sure he doesn't. Then she said, well, Karen perceived G a lot different, than she did Michael. So then Karen said, well, I actually got to know G and he made me feel welcomed. And so Giselle was like, well, that's the whole point. Michael has never licked his tongue out to anyone and say, let's pee-pop on a handstand. He's never done that. Okay, we're going to have to get this woman some ginseng, honey, because it's the amnesia of it all. The amnesia is alarming. Giselle, what are you talking about? So then they show flashbacks of him grabbing Katie's then man's butt and Gizzard being appalled. Giselle, do you remember that? She's really working my nerves taking up for Michael in his disgusting ways. Now, let me just say this. I know we go in on Candace. I know people feel a way about what Candace says and what Candace does. But let me just tell you this. Michael has skated by on the hair of his chinny chin chin because he refuses to show up on camera before a few scenes so everyone forgets and we don't say what we really need to say about Michael. He is disgusting and there is no other way around it. And Giselle, I don't know what you are talking about. I don't know if it's those synthetic fibers from that wig or what is happening, but Michael is definitely a scumbag. Moving forward. She's like, we didn't know G and all that was being displayed. And it's like, whoa. G was being teamed too much on that trip, honey, gone off that liquor. But the difference is G was flirting with the ladies and Michael with the men after he's had a few. And he was doing things that no one wanted him to do. Okay, that's the difference. So Ashley said, well, I didn't like the bus moment. That was what was really bothering me. So G manned up and gave her a sincere apology, bow tie and all. Moving forward. So they asked Robin why Juan never shows up. He's a basketball coach and he got to work, period. Then they talked to Chris about being the husbander. He manages Candace, not her career, and answers emails. And scene. So then they asked about Chris wanting Mia back in the day. They're like, did you know her from back in the day? Candace was like, no, he never met her. He doesn't know her. But she said that he wanted to toss her salad. Now, Mia, listen. I know Mia is coming from the men's lounge and whatnot, but if you ever put in the atmosphere that my husband tried to toss your salad of all things, You couldn't apologize it away. Not for me, honey. It wouldn't be able to work with me. Okay, now this is the point of contention. This way you get pissed. Okay, because don't talk about my man tossing your salad. Girl, what in the... Okay, because this is her husband. Okay, no matter what I feel about Candace or her behavior at times, this is still her husband. That was a flat out lie that somebody could run with. Like, that didn't make any sense. So she's like, well, she called me handsome. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, that was funny. Oh, child. So they go back and forth and back. And so Wendy chimes in. Oh, child, here come Wendy. And she's like, I think it's weird that Mia wanted Eddie to make eye contact with her. Oh, I'm so tired of these heifers. I'm so tired of them, child. Oh, let's just continue on. Mia thinks everybody man wants her. That's the bottom line, honey. She thinks she has it like that. She sat right there in front of G and basically said, I can have all they men's. Men's with a Z. It's her mentality. Mia, leave people's husband alone, honey. Okay, you don't want to start that. That's how Phaedra and Kenya fought for 8 seasons in a row. Apollo kind of fine. Shout out to Kenya Moore. Like, please don't reference these ladies' husbands. Don't talk about their husbands putting their mouths on any part of your body. Please don't do it. So while Wendy going on and she going off, Idris just a smiling. Child, y'all know he in law, so he knows his Miranda rights, honey. He has the right to remain silent. Anything he says can and will be used against him in the court of home, child, and he ain't no fool. Moving forward. Andy asked how Eddie felt about the rumors. He said it was brought up in a way that it didn't show concern for me or my children. So Andy said, well, Giselle, would you like to apologize for it? No, because I defended him. Child, Giselle still refused to apologize. A fool. So Eddie was trying to explain how he felt being on the trip with Giselle after the rumors surfaced, and Wendy just jumped in and completed his sentence. Wendy, allow him to speak for himself. It is okay for him to speak his speech. It's okay. As a lawyer, I'm sure he can articulate a thought. So then they switched gears to Karen and Ray's Re-Nuptials. A viewer asked why he brought up her candles at her swearing in as an ambassador. He said because she doesn't market herself nearly enough, especially with the platform that she's given. It's no sense in being in business and being quiet about it. Listen, Ray, I'm gonna have to take that little information, baby. That was some wisdom right there, honey, because I have an issue with that. Like, I hate to promote myself. I hate to market anything attached to me because I feel like I'm trying to sell people stuff, and I don't like that. That's why I don't put ads in front of my videos, you know, like those specially sponsored ads. I mean, but, you know, if somebody want to call me and I'm getting a bag for it, then an ad it shall be. But I just don't want to make my subscribers feel like, oh, Lord, she finna tell us about this flat tummy tea or whatever it is. Shout out to flat tummy tea or whatever is going on. And then she's going to give us the review. So I have that problem as well. So I appreciated that, you know, that little tidbit of advice. So Chris said, you know, I think that's amazing. But I wonder why when I'm pushing Candace to do her thing and supporting her, I'm riding her coattails. I would like to know the answer to that. Somebody please give me the answer to that one. So Karen said, you know, I'm totally supportive of you and Candace. I actually told them that they needed to mind their business. So Angie said, well, Giselle is thinking it's like it's a different scenario. So Giselle said, well, this is the thing. Ray held Karen down 20 plus years, so that's the missing component. Okay, again with the synthetic fibers. Giselle, shut up. So it's because Karen was spending Ray's money for 2 decades? Like, his length of years living and being in a relationship with Karen means that he is better than Chris somehow? Like, okay. So Chris was like, y'all act like I don't do nothing. They acting like I'm mooching off of Candace and they're perpetuating this narrative. So Andy said, who? Candace said they all have. I mean, it's emasculating. That is true. But Candace, honey, the way you speak to him is emasculating as well. So Chris is getting it from both ends. You need to speak to your husband a little nicer because he's already getting it from your mama. He's getting it from the viewing public. Everybody thinks he's a bum. Okay, because you never corrected them in saying exactly what it was. Had he not said what comes next, we would have never known. Moving forward. Chris said, well, let's talk about the house. I paid rent at both of our homes when we were dating. And I was not about to pay a mortgage for an investment property for her and her mom until I married her. But, you know, I guess her mom paid my life. Crickets. So then Andy goes, back to Surry County. Okay, I would have cussed him out. I ain't like that. I did not like that at all. That was very rude. It was a rude transition. And Andy treated Wendy and Chris like redheaded stepchildren this reunion. That was very rude. I'm not the biggest Candace fan, but I'm mature enough to say he deserved to be heard. And also, why didn't y'all elaborate on what he just said? Y'all didn't know any of that. And Candace, I blame you too, because you should have stated, this is what it is. Now, I did hear before that Chris came for money, but it's not said very often. But at the same time, for him defending himself and then Andy just dismissing him, okay, back to Surry County. Like he wasn't even speaking. That was rude as hell. And Andy, really nobody cares about Surry County. Now, I love me some Grand Dame, but I could really care less. And then he gonna have enough nerve to turn his back and continue to talk. I said, oh my goodness, honey. So Candace and Chris were like, I know, we hijacked the conversation. We hijacked it. Child, it's fine, honey. They weren't talking about nothing. So Andy asked about the men wearing their rings. Of course, Ashley starts talking about Michael's Deputrins. And y'all already know what I said, honey. I will put that ring on a necklace and put it around his neck. And he will be wearing the necklace. And child, now apparently it done spread to both his hands. Child, goodbye and good night. Buenos noches. Moving forward. So then Andy reads a comment stating how Michael is ruder to Chris and is the biggest offender. And I agree with that. So Ashley said, well, his beef is, really with Candace and how aggressively she was coming at us. There's that word again. And not Chris, out of respect. He speaks to Chris because it's like a man-to-man type thing. Chris said, I agree with that. And if he wants to be cool, then we'll be cool. And if he don't, then we won't. And that is the end for the husbands. Chris, honey, great job on being the bigger person. But as for me and mine, I don't like my man liking somebody that I don't like. Okay, as my husband, we ride or die together. If I don't like him, you don't like him. Okay, Chris, I know you want to be liked, honey, but being friends with Michael, that ain't it, honey. That is not the way. So it's time for Nikki to come out, right? So they go, the husbands leave, and then out of the blue, Andy asks for tequila. I'm like, child, that was so obvious. Why would Andy just in the middle of the reunion ask for tequila? He would have done better saying somebody running out and saying he had an emergency call about his son, and then he runs to the back and then out comes Nikki. Like, do y'all need help with the creative flow of it all? Child, y'all call me. Anywho, that's just a side note. So Nikki comes out and she's like, I'm here, bitches. And child, everybody go crazy. And she gets right into it. She's like, okay, ladies, I want y'all to just have fun with it. I respect you. I love you. I've been watching since season 1, and I'm just going to be asking you some questions. So, honey, she is prepping them for Roman's revenge. Shout out to Nikki Minaj. So here go, Giselle. This is the reasonable before the shady. Girl, not you plugging that Sleepy Time podcast. Child, let's get into it if we're going to get into it. So she goes, Ashley, you had a baby, so you didn't have much of a storyline. Is that why you were Giselle's sidekick and doing her dirty work? Oh, shots fired. Because we were all thinking it, y'all. So Ashley said, Nikki. She said, so you're going to dispute that you left right after you did it, Ashley? So Candace pipes up and she says, well, she had just given birth like 2 weeks into filming. Nikki said, well, she should have stayed home. Candace, okay, you actually went into the kitchen behind her with your folded Kleenex and said the exact same thing. Like, honey, just sit back because I'm sure Ashley would not be defending you. Please just fall back. She said, well, she shouldn't have came. So Candace said, but she has to work. She needs to work. It's work. She said, whoa, Candy girl. Candy girl. Shout out to New Edition. This did show me another side of Candace, though. I mean, I guess she's one of those, I can make fun of them, but nobody else bet not. I mean, it was very odd and protective all at the same time. Child, I don't know what was happening in this part of the reunion. Child, and that's the end of the episode. That is reunion part 3. Child, I had to watch this like 3 or 4 times. I really was not feeling it. I'm just going to give it to y'all straight, no chaser, honey. I really wasn't feeling it. And I'm ready for this to be over so that we can continue on. Y'all comment down below and tell me exactly what you thought about this episode. Keep it cute or keep it on mute. And as always, stay safe, stay blessed, spread love, not germs. Peace.